Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Otakuology Podcast. I'm your host, Otaku Mike, as always. And with me, as always, is my podcast brother, who is not an evil, filthy Nazi, Jin. And today we are looking at episode 2 of Creature Commandos, a.k.a. the Tourmaline necklace. I think I probably butchered that. Tourmaline necklace?
I'm going to have to look this up
Is it the terminal necklace?
Hold on, let me look.
I don't know what it is. So it's the Tourmaline necklace?
Yeah.
Did they ever actually say that in the episode?
Or Tourmaline.
Tourmaline necklace?
Yeah, I would say it's Tourmaline.
But we're continuing our journey with Creature Commandos. After we butchered that episode title, we continue on with Nina and the bride, of all people. They got to Frankenstein's manor, castle. I don't know what you want to call it. I want to say it's probably like a manor.
Yeah, I mean, for continuity,
workplace.
I would say Frankenstein's castle, but I mean, I would say it looks more like a manor.
And they're looking for something. Well, specifically, the bride is looking for something, and we get transported back into 1831 is when we get taken back to, and good old Eric Frankenstein, which I didn't know Frankenstein's name was Eric.
I didn't know that either.
Like the monster Frankenstein.
Yeah.
But they call him Eric, and Eric is pining over wanting somebody to love, just like Victor Frankenstein does. And we see...
Whoa. That is not true.
Well, okay, what is it?
He had a wife, okay?
No, Victor has a wife.
I know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Victor. He wants a wife like Victor.
That's
what I meant.
I thought you were saying Victor also wanted to have, like...
Eric. Yeah. Eric wants a wife like Victor has.
Okay.
And they're sitting there or standing there around with these bodies on ice. They're all cut up and like whatnot. And these are bodies they got from the morgue or like the grave, the mortuary or whatever. And Eric's getting a little mad. He's getting a little mad at Victor because he's like, I want somebody now. And right. Victor's like, we got to make somebody, which I don't understand why they just didn't find him a nice lady. Like, why'd they have to make him a lady? I mean, because the bride's cool.
He wanted somebody that would be like him.
The bride's cool. She's a cool character.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, so there's a part when we get to it that I got a couple things to say. Okay. Not yet.
Okay. And yeah, so this is interesting, and we end up finding like the bride's like severed head, and her like half of her face is missing, and he's like, "This is the one. This is the one for me. I love her. She's mine." Yep. Which I didn't know that well, maybe you might have mentioned this before, but I didn't know Frankenstein was voiced by David Harbour. The guy who plays like Hopper on Stranger Things.
Yeah, I mentioned this first episode.
Oh, I might have forgot it. And I was like, that's the Red Guardian.
Yeah.
I was like, why does he sound so familiar?
Yeah.
I totally forgot. I was like, oh my God. I think that, what if he plays Frankenstein in live action? That would be cool.
Well, yeah, I guess because he's never been in a DC movie before.
No.
So they could have him as like a thing.
I think a lot of the actors in this are like live action actors. Like they're like film actors, I believe.
Probably. There's a lot of people that it seems like kind of they dote the line in between actor and voice actor nowadays.
Yeah, but after we get through this little patch of flashback with the bride, we get brought back into the presence with Ilana That's her name, right? Ilana, the princess.
Yeah, yeah,
Ilana and good old Rick Flag, and Rick Flag's having his wounds patched up. They're in the restroom, which the other monsters are kind of creeping on him a little bit. I feel like
yeah,
look at him, and man, Ilana like fucking comes on really hard in this. Like she's still fucking thirsty for Rick,
yeah.
which is weird.
And then he's like, the third time, I've already told you where these wounds came from.
Yeah, these are nothing new. And while the monsters are looking, and like they shut the door, and Frank and not Frank, Rick and Ileana get it on. Which this whole scene where the guard shows up and he's talking to Doctor Phosphorus, like,
Yeah,
"Hey, have you seen so and so?" And he's like, "Yes, I have." Like, where is he? And he's like, "Oh, he's busy at the moment. Give him like a minute or two. He's old, so give him a minute. But he's also experienced, so just give him like a minute
or two.
or two."
Yeah, which I love that the joke finally came to like fruition with him, where it's
Yeah.
like you can tell I'm smiling, right?
Yes.
And so then like the guard's like, I can tell you're smiling. And he
Yes.
goes, I'm a skeleton. How are you telling I'm smiling? It looks like I'm always smiling. He goes, well, aren't you smiling? And he goes, well, yeah, but...
I have to say, I loved because they're doing this all right in front of the door where Rick and Elena are, and you
Yeah.
can clearly hear what's going on in the in the restroom.
Oh, yeah.
And they're just
Especially whenever they back into the door, so...
yes, and they're like dunk 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 dunk, which is funny. I have to say, I love the little animation detail of like the particle effects coming off of Dr. Phosphorus' head.
Yeah.
It's very reminiscent of the Kirby Crackle. If you know what that is, you know what that is. You know what a Kirby Crackle is. I don't think you know what a Kirby Crackle is, do you?
I don't think so.
Kirby Crackle is like the power crackling that Jack Kirby would draw for like energy and stuff like that. And it would be like wavy lines with like circles in it. What?
Totally different than what I was thinking.
What did you think it was?
I was thinking it was like the little thing whenever Kirby, the pink Kirby, starts sucking in air.
No.
And it's the little little kind of weird like white X that like flashes with the little circles around.
No, that's not it. Look up, do a search for Kirby Crackle.
I was like, oh my god.
Do a little quick search. Let me know what you find.
Black dots.
Yeah, it's like the black dots with like color around them. Yeah.
Okay.
What happens next, Jin? After they get it on?
After they get it on, and we have this whole part, then it moves back to the bride and everything.
Yeah, it moves back to the bride into the past, and we start to learn that Eric's a little possessive, and he loves her so much. He gets her flowers, and we get to see like the birth of the bride. And he's like, I picked these for you. They're very nice and pretty.
Yeah.
He seems kind of like a goofball a little bit.
I agree.
Yeah. And then, like a goober.
And then, of course, he feels like Victor's kind of standing in his way with part of it.
Yeah.
Because he's like, well, why does she need to know how to talk? We have the real thing, which is love.
Yeah, we have love. We know I know what love is. And he's like, well, do you want somebody that can talk to you or not? Because she has to learn everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Then he pushes him, and then we go through the phases of her learning how to talk, everything else. And
I really like this scene of her learning how to talk and stuff.
Yeah.
It very much like sort of humanized her, and like, I don't want to say humanized Eric as well, but Eric comes off as very like red flags, like pew pew pew, red flags jumping up, like possibly like maybe being like an abusive husband or boyfriend type of situation.
Well, I think he also just like I feel like he's more of like a crybaby
Mm-hmm.
in terms of like how he reacted to part of it, and like he said, he doesn't really care if there's conversation or whatever. Like honestly, and only because we're technically an anime podcast, can I
Yeah.
say this where most people will understand it. I really feel like he almost wanted like a woman shaped Ona hole
Oh.
that
Oh. Yeah.
yeah, that would be able to like still do stuff because of the whole well, she doesn't necessarily have to talk comment. We just have to have the love and like
I didn't put two and two together.
yeah, he's like, "Oh, well I want this and I want that and da da da." And he's just so like anal about
Mm-hmm.
this whole thing. And of course like it's like he wants the love,
Yeah.
but it's like, well, why can't I think he's really jealous of Victor because he's basing it off of, well, you want somebody or you have a wife and that's what I want.
Yeah.
And so he's throwing like this whole tantrum of like, well, you have this and you're my dad and I want that and da da da. And we're going through the whole thing. And at the same time, he thinks that that's an excuse, probably because Victor didn't really know how to tell him no most of the time.
Yeah. And plus, like, Eric kind of like throws his weight around too, like, because he's like really strong.
Yeah. Yeah.
He threatens him at points.
Yeah. So, I mean, he does different stuff like that. Um,
Yeah.
so, I mean, but of course, like going forward with that, and then we have this whole thing where they became intimate.
Well, let's talk about this. So we move forward in her story where we find out that the bride starts to learn more. She ends up fighting off like Victor's advances and no, Eric's advances, and Victor kind of steps in, like you said, and she ends up seeing this necklace that she's actually looking for in the present, and she gets this necklace because Victor like shows it to her, and she's like, "Oh, that's pretty," type of thing, and it's like it's also a necklace because he's trying to figure out like what she knows and stuff and teach her and whatnot, and that's when we find out like you said, oh, Eric doesn't want nobody to know anything. Like, why do we need to know this type of thing? Or what does she need to know stuff? And
Yes.
later on, I'm guessing it's quite a while later on, like Victor ends up giving the bride the necklace that she saw,
Yes.
and they she like puts it on, and they start to like have a connection, and this connection leads to them making love, having sex, whatever you want to call it, on
Yeah.
the operating table where she was born,
Right.
which,
Well,
which
and I think the other things that led up to this was again Victor being a baby, not
yeah,
Victor.
Eric
Uh,
being baby.
yeah. Because like he was gone so long, and then he walks in on this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At least as far as like we're led to believe, and instead of thinking like, hey, maybe I fucked up and I did the wrong thing,
Mm-hmm.
and that he should find himself a real Ona hole, then you know,
Yeah, like he comes in and they're like in mid, like boinkity boinkity on this
and
table.
and he's just watching.
He's just watching, like he's just been cock blocked so hard by his daddy, nonetheless. And what we find out is if I can't have you, no one can, basically. And Eric ends up killing Victor in a horrible way, Well, we're kind of jumping forward, but that's what happens. He kills him in a horrible way.
He does. He
He
twists
does.
him.
He does. But while all this is going on in the present, they're looking for this necklace still. They end up finding it. And Nina obviously observes that this necklace means a lot to the bride, even though the bride doesn't want to show that it means a lot to her. The group of fuck boys, whatever you want to call them, simp fuck boys. I don't remember what they were called.
The simp fuck boys.
The was it
For thirsty?
the men of Cersei or whatever they were called? The brothers of Themyscira. I don't remember what they were called.
Yeah, yeah. The Brotherhood of Themyscira.
Were they like the Brotherhood of Themyscira or something?
Yeah.
I don't know what they're called. I call them the simp fuck boys.
Oh my gosh.
They're the neckbeards of the DC universe.
They're the Themyscira boys.
The Themyscira boys. They end up finding out that some of the people that were hired to defeat them and Cersei are in town, and they end up telling Cersei, and they end up getting they're all gathering around the mansion,
and we know why. We know
I
why.
don't know why they.
We also see why they're fuckboys though.
We do see why they're fuckboys
because she drinks beer and eats.
Oh.
All this food. She's like she acts like one of the guys.
They're sitting there watching her eat and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, no, that was funny.
So, but yeah, I mean, they really like basically this whole outlet of who she is. So
they simp for her so hard.
They do. They do.
I feel like they're probably on OnlyFans, hey, Cersei, show me your tits. And then Cersei's like, that'll be $10. Show me your tits.
I don't even think it's like that. I think it's more like she probably kicks one of them and they're like, oh my God. She's like, that'll be $50. And they're like, okay.
Yeah, that'll be $50 for me to step on your dick.
Yeah. You can lick my boot. Okay.
Yeah, no, in which I was kind of confused. I think I missed it the first time, but why they were at the Victor's mansion? Why
did the bride and them go to Victor's mansion?
Why did the fuckboys and Cersei go to Victor's mansion?
They heard that the bride and them were there.
Okay. Because I kind of wondered a little bit if the necklace was magical in nature almost.
I don't think so. I think the bride wanted to go. It may be magical, but I think she wanted to go for the necklace because she knew it was there.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I think Cersei and the bros just showed up because of the bride and what's her face?
Nina, yeah. Nina Mazursky, I think her name is.
I know. She doesn't really have a superhero name, does she?
No. Which there's a part in this which I find really interesting. So Nina considers herself a monster, but the bride considers Nina a human with gills.
Yeah.
Which is a really interesting dynamic, but because technically they're, except for G.I. Robot, they're all kind of monsters. And Rick Flag, I guess.
Yeah.
The way the different characters see each other, in a sense, is interesting.
Right.
But yeah.
G.I. Robot, you're either a Nazi or not a Nazi.
Yeah.
Nina is just kind of everybody's who they are. The bride is if you're not a monster on the inside, you can't handle your own, then you're not a monster. Because I feel she thinks her, G.I. Robot, Weasel, and Dr. Phosphorus are monsters, but I don't think she thinks Nina is one because of how kind Nina is.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have Dr. Phosphorus, which is just everybody's a monster.
Everybody's a monster,
everybody's got a dark side, things like that. Weasel's just kind of I'm along for the ride.
Yeah. And, he's like that dog that follows you around.
Yeah. And then, of course, then Rick kind of feels the same way that all of them are monsters. So
Yeah, like yeah, no true. Which Rick ends up finding out that Nina and the bride left,
yeah,
which they go to track them down, which is really funny. I love the scene where was it GI Robot is like, is Dr. Phosphorus a filthy Nazi? And Rick's like, no, he's not a filthy Nazi. Get in the car. That made me laugh. That made me laugh so hard.
yeah. Oh
But
yeah, when they were getting in the car, I
yeah,
loved it.
yeah. He's like, this is Phosphorus a filthy Nazi? And he gets his gun out. He's getting ready to shoot him. He's like, no, not a Nazi, not a Nazi.
Right.
Which next episode we get GI Robot's backstory.
Which that's true. That's true. That's
Yeah,
one of the things I can't wait to get into the next episode on.
yeah.
So let me ask you this. It was weird whenever we had the part with Rick sitting on the toilet
Oh yeah.
before he was going to get like worked on, and
Uh-huh.
you have what's her face, the princess, like,
Ilana.
yeah, talking to him about it
Mm-hmm.
and everything. She's like, what does that device do? And I don't know if he knew or not, or it was just drawn a certain way. But like every time they showed it, like his fingers were covering up the last two slots that would have been there.
Oh
So
really?
yeah, so we saw like Weasel and we saw GI Robot and we saw Dr. Phosphorus, but we never saw Nina or the bride on there.
Okay.
So I kind of wondered if that was a tie into this episode at all. Like, were there pictures on there?
Or do
Or
you think
were the,
maybe they have to be within range
I don't know, maybe. But
to
he
activate
wasn't
it?
looking at it, and their pictures weren't on there because they were covered up by his fingers. So we
Yeah.
don't exactly know, but I'm pretty sure the original lineup that was on there was different than what we see now.
You think? Oh, we'll have to look at it and see. We'll go back and look at that.
Because I think when they were first at the thing, it was spread out a little more. Like it was the bride and Dr. Phosphorus, and
Uh-huh.
like the weasel was at the end.
Uh-huh.
But on this one, it was, the three guys were basically on
Yeah,
there.
basically probably everybody who's in like the
Yeah,
surrounding area.
yeah. But I don't know if that alluded to anything or not, because clearly Rick's fingers were covering up the rest of the thing.
Yeah, I still think Ileana has like some like nefarious scheme that's gonna show up or pop off.
Um, I mean, I think she probably works for Cersei, so
Oh, so you think she's a Cersei fuckboy?
no, not a Cersei fuckboy. I think she just works for Cersei,
Yeah, yeah.
and why they're there to protect the princess or whatever, they're really not there for anything. But I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
I don't think we'll really know anything like that per se
Uh-huh.
until the queen dies.
Yeah,
So
that's true. That's true.
yeah, so
Um,
I think that's what we're waiting on right now.
but we do get this epic, epic fight between the bride and Cersei and the fuckboys.
The Cersei.
Man, this fight was so cool. I love this fight. How she
Yeah,
like I forgot that she had like super strength almost.
yeah.
And she was just throwing like chairs around and desks and like giant I don't know what they were, but stuff.
Hey, well, and the music for this one was really good too.
Oh yeah. I think it's the same music from the first episode too. Just like the same band, I believe.
Yeah. I think it's the same band, but a different one. It's kind of like shit. What is it? That one thing that I showed you where the guy looked like Beetlejuice.
Oh, I don't know.
It's like a Russian singer. Like I sent it to you. I think his name is like Vorgan Vajan or
Uh-huh.
something. Like messed up teeth, like looks dirty, everything else, like crap under his nails, but he's got like this kind of like dirty yellow mohawk looking thing going on.
Uh-huh.
I mean, and he looks like Beetlejuice, and that's kind of, as far as I know, like his music on there.
Okay.
Or Vizzy Jack, I think is his name.
Okay. Yeah, trying to look at the music to see who actually did it exactly. So there's like a band that they used. I forget. I'll have to look later. But we had this epic fight. Like, I love this fight. This fight was set so well to that music.
Yeah.
Because like Cersei kind of just pops up and just starts like trying to get him and whatnot, and like the bride very much holds her own with Cersei in a sense. The bride knows what magic is, which is pretty cool because she tries to shoot her gun at Cersei, and like I love the part where Cersei takes the bullets and like redirects them into like magical butterflies and then sucks up the butterflies
Yeah.
to make more magical powers for herself.
Yeah.
I thought that was a cool scene. But yeah, this fight was so well done, and very violent, just like the first episode. Um, I loved when
Well,
the bride.
we also had the one thing that you forgot to touch on,
What?
which was the where it was the bride and Frankenstein going through time, and he kept
Oh
trying to
no,
see her again.
that's after this. That's after this. That's like right after the fight. They go through time, I believe. I think, but we can talk about that.
I thought it happened like kind of in the middle of, because
That
whenever her and Cersei got in a fight was when she was having those flashbacks of like her sleeping with
when she
Victor.
was like fucking the fucking Victor.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. I mean, I felt like that montage is really good of them going through the decades and Eric finding her in each decade
yeah,
and having the fight and like reinvent herself. I think it goes up to like 91, I believe.
yeah,
Then it stops. So like he hasn't found her since like 1991, but I believe.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, no, that was really cool. I love they had like like the Wild West, the Lawrence of Arabia style. When they're in World War One or World War Two. So call back to the original Creature Commandos right there.
yeah,
Yeah, no, it was a cool scene. Like it intertwined really well with the Cersei bride fight. I
yeah,
love the part. I love the part was a little detail where the bride kicks Cersei in the vag, and then her the crystal right above it like breaks because she
yeah.
kicked her so hard, and she was like, but yeah, no, unfortunately, I thought Nina was about to die in this episode.
I thought she was about to die in this episode too,
Her tank gets shot. Her
and then
bowl on her head.
yeah, and then they're both kind of sitting there, and she's like,
She's like, "Eh."
"Hey."
She's like,
Yeah,
go fuck yourself.
yeah,
Oh, and then the bride gets her arms changed to like wavy tube guys.
yeah, that was weird as shit.
That was weird. I was like, are they gonna go back to normal? Like, what's gonna happen? Because she tries to
Right?
fight with them, and she's like, eh. But no, yeah, no, it was so cool. I can't wait to the next episode to see where exactly this is gonna go. I'm super excited.
Yeah, because I want to know. It kind of looked like somebody was standing over him, so I really want to know
Yeah,
who.
so it was one of the fuckboy guys, the sons of Thanaskir or whatever they were called.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
because he got him with the butt of the rifle.
yeah,
That's
he like
right.
knocks him out. Yeah, he knocks him out and he like captures him, I believe, or they get captured.
Yeah,
But man, I hope Nina doesn't die. Like I like Nina as a character. She like
yeah.
she
I think she needs more character development,
she
but
does.
I mean, we're getting there.
Yeah, yeah. No, we're definitely getting there. I feel like with such a small cast, like each of them, I feel like are going to have their own little interspersed episode for like their backstory in some way.
Right, right.
Interspersed with the main plot, and they're all going to get their own episode. I feel like because next one's GI Robot, But yeah,
Yeah, and I think that a lot of them are out already. Does that
yeah. No,
sound
I
right?
believe the whole season's out.
Because there's 7 episodes.
I think there's 10.
Okay.
I think
When I looked earlier, I think there were only 7 that were out.
maybe
So
there are only
maybe.
7. But
So
I do know this got renewed for a second season.
yeah, yeah,
I do know that, which I'm curious if we get to the second season, will we have new monsters join the team?
that'd be so cool.
That would be cool, you know? But yeah. No, this episode was such a fun episode. I have to say, what was the thing you wanted to talk about? Is it the same thing that I want to talk about?
Oh, so you know what I want to talk about.
Maybe.
So number 1.
Wait, don't yell, don't yell, don't yell.
Number 1. So number 1 is the fact of how Victor keeps going, "Oh, Edgar," or
Eric.
what's Eric, you're my son, and da da
Yeah.
da da. And then he makes the bride and is never calls her daughter or whatever, but basically like you get the same thing, and then he fucks her.
I don't think he gives her a name.
Well, whatever, but he fucks her.
Oh yeah, he
So and
question.
then
Wait,
for 2, this is in the same stream. For
uh-huh.
2, since he was teaching her how to talk, he basically groomed her in the matter of
Yes.
however a month to get to that point. And obviously Victor's a fucking cheater
Yes.
because, so
Wait, I have a question.
okay.
This might be weird. One, would you consider it necrophilia? Because she's technically dead. Or she's made up of dead body parts.
I don't know. I don't think so because I feel like she's probably warm.
Uh-huh.
And I would base it off of if you're sleeping with a corpse that they're losing heat, while I feel like at the current moment she generates heat.
With how she was, quote, born, would you consider him grooming her and her being possibly underage in a sense? Like, would Victor be a pedophile?
I wouldn't say that because I would think if she was technically underaged as
I mean, like underage because she was, quote, just born.
yeah, I wouldn't consider it that because of I would say that it's the age of the corpse, but
no, he definitely
like
had to like groom her. I feel like
like
I don't
if
know if it was
he
I don't know if it was
like it,
intentional.
I don't know, but
Yeah,
like I feel like there was a little more we needed there to get like because I feel like we did a hard jump. Like he gave her the necklace, and then we did this hard jump in him fucking her.
yeah. I
And
mean, maybe it's because
so
she made him all that like nice lemonade. You know.
made him lemonade.
Yeah. So like, before like right when he Eric killed Victor, the bride brought him like a fresh glass of lemonade. She's like, I made you some lemonade. And
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
No, that was his drink to get his energy back.
The bride
Round
was his
round 2.
side piece.
Yeah. Now that's the other thing though. Would you technically, because it was one of his experiments, say that he was actually a cheater?
I would say so.
So
I would say so. I mean, but I'm more interested. I'm really interested to see like what happened to his like quote family. You know, because
that's true.
he had like I guess a daughter, or a couple of daughters, and a wife.
Yeah.
And we heard them say that he this was his experiment, like place of work, and his house was like down the road or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it was, but it was a very very interesting episode. I really like it that they used the bride as a character in this.
Yeah.
Because she does. This is kind of it is very sort of reminiscent to like of her in the comics as well.
Yeah.
Because in the comics, like her and Eric are like divorced, and she wants like nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
very much like this as well. You know, I don't remember the reason why, but in the comics, she has like 6 arms.
The fuck?
Yeah, she has like 6 arms.
The fuck?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But I only saw her in like one. It was like Agent of Shade, Creature Commandos, or whatever. Um,
Sounds to me like somebody needs to buy some comics.
I know. But yeah, no, this episode was a lot of fun. Very eye opening. I feel like at some points.
Yeah.
Eric's a piece of shit, and I think Victor's a little bit of a piece of shit too. Eric has a lot of problems. I feel like.
Yeah, I think they're all pieces of shit. But
Yeah. But yeah, what'd you think of this episode?
I also think that it's kind of weird that for all his boo-hooing and stuff, that at the end of episode 2, we see him on a fucking yacht with like a bunch
Oh,
of
he was on that was episode 1.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's what I meant.
Oh,
He's sitting there with like a bunch of hoes or whatever, and it's like, well, Eric, like, if only you tried, maybe you wouldn't have to worry about needing somebody made for you. You could have had any girl that you wanted.
yeah, no, that's for sure.
Yeah, confidence, my friend. That's what he needed, and he just acted like he didn't have it.
He probably kills him with that D because he's so strong. And he gets angry with his temper tantrums.
No, I bet he can't even get it up.
Mate, who knows?
That's probably why he's like, I got this one good thing, and it's for the bride. So every time I think about her, but I can't do it unless it's with the bride. So he's probably
do you think he has his V card?
Maybe,
yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to show up with the Hawaiian shirt on.
What?
In the first episode, he had a Hawaiian shirt.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I want him to have the Hawaiian shirt on when he finally finds her, and like he has like his swim trunks on or whatever. He's like, "I finally found you."
Yeah.
I need him to have like a tiki drink in his hand with an umbrella.
See if we get there.
But yeah, no, this episode was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It definitely, I feel like we should have covered this and then this episode, first episode and this episode. It very much flowed together. It almost kind of felt like one episode in a sense. But yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
I definitely recommend it. I'm really looking forward to see what GI Robot has to go through, and he's probably going to be one of the most sympathetic characters. I feel like in this episode, in these episodes, maybe.
I don't know. I think he's going to probably be one of the more bland characters that,
or fan favorite.
No, I feel like he's going to be bland. I mean, I feel like he's going to be our favorite, but I feel like everybody's going to, like, he's just going to be a robot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we know a little more than, like, what he was back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's probably all that it's going to be. It's going to be like, oh, this, oh, that. And it's going to be like everybody curries favor with him because, yeah, he's this really like great killing machine with the Nazis, but nobody's going to care more besides that. Like, it's not going to be like,
why didn't they ever like disarm him in the prison?
I don't know. I asked you that last time.
Oh, that thought just popped in my head again. I was like, why didn't they ever disarm him in the prison? But yeah, no. This episode, a lot of fun. It wasn't what I expected. Like, I did not expect to have Victor Frankenstein sleep with, I guess in a sense, sleep with his child. Oh, that's weird to think about.
Oh, believe me. Yeah. It's weird as shit.
So many, like, and I was like, I can't believe they showed it too. Like, I was like, oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, well, especially after us watching the whole thing with, what's his face? With Rick.
Yeah.
And then, like, to have this stuff happen, and you're like,
Yeah, I mean, we got full on, like, titty shots in this. With the bride.
Sort of.
Sort of, kind of. A little bit. A little
Yeah.
bit.
No nips.
No, there was a little bit of nip. It was green. It was like
I
a
don't.
green.
I don't think so. I
No,
mean, we.
no, there was. You gotta go back and watch it.
No, I'm not rewatching
Yeah.
this. No, I mean, I remember whenever we were going over the corpse parts, you could see it, but
No. If you go back and look, you can see some nip.
somebody was looking a little too close here.
I was. I mean, we're gonna say the bride's kind of a hot.
Did you just rat yourself out? I was. I mean,
Yeah, I was. I mean, I'm gonna say I like the bride. I think she's a cool character, and she's kind of hot for a dead person.
So if you
Jen,
slept with
Jen,
so if you slept her, would you be with a necrophiliac?
maybe. I mean, I do like monsters.
Oh my god.
I do like monster girls. Just saying.
Oh my gosh.
And I guess you would classify as a monster girl.
Yeah.
But I would have to make sure Eric is dead before I pursue her because I don't want to get ripped in half.
Who knows?
You know, I don't want to end up like Victor. Oh, that looked really bad.
Who knows? Maybe you can be like, what's up, Victor?
Yeah.
What's up?
But yeah, anyways, thank you for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We can't wait to cover episode 3 of Creature Commandos. Let us know what you think. Leave us a rating or review on our podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcast. We'll get back with you. You can reach out to us on our Instagram at Talkology Podcast. And let us know. What do you think of the podcast?
Yeah.
Peace out. Stay safe.
As always, see you next Tuesday.